Junior Motorsports just announced a few minutes ago that their Xfinity Series driver Connor Zilisch will miss the race at Texas Motor Speedway after sustaining back injuries after a crash at Talladega. Here is what their statement says. Kyle Larson will sub for Connor Zilisch behind the wheel of the number 88 Chevrolet this weekend at Texas Motor Speedway as Zilisch continues to recover from a lower back injury sustained last weekend at Talladega. Trackhouse, who Zilisch has a contract with, they also announced essentially the same thing, saying Connor Zilisch will miss Saturday's NASCAR Xfinity Series race at Texas Motor Speedway due to lower back injuries sustained at Talladega Superspeedway. The Trackhouse Racing Development driver plans to return to the number 88 Junior Motorsports Chevrolet as soon as possible. Then Connor Zilisch said, "Thank you to Kyle Larson for stepping up for me this weekend and everyone who has helped me through this process. Doing everything I can to be back as soon as possible." So in case you missed it, you're wondering how we got here. Connor Zilisch, fighting for the win on Saturday at Talladega, was involved in a last lap crash where he and Jesse Love made contact. Zilisch spun down the racetrack and hit the inside wall very hard. He came over the radio pretty quickly saying, "Ow, my back, my back." They threw the caution, which we kind of had a discussion a few days ago about that because of the whole caution controversy. And Zilisch was able to get out of the car. He was able to go to the infield care center. And after, in his post-race interview outside of the infield care center, he said, it hurt. He's going to be sore, but the x-rays were good and he should be able to be good to go for Texas, but he would still do, they would double check him. He would go check with his doctor to make sure he was all good to go. Well, obviously, as we sit here on Wednesday afternoon, it appears he is not good to go for Texas. It feels like a lot of the major injuries we've seen in NASCAR over the years have been back injuries. I know we had Kyle Busch in his legs. That's been 10 years now. Hard to believe that's been 10 years, but we look at Eric Almirola in 2017. These are Cup Series injuries. But we look at last year, Eric Jones at Talladega, a hard head-on collision with the wall. He hurt his back. So Zilisch hits head-on into the wall. He hurts his back. And you got to remember something else. Connor Zilisch is only 18 years old. So when it comes to any injury, especially something as critical as a back, you're going to assume that he's going to play it safe. He has a long, successful career ahead of him. There's no point in pushing it. There's no point in risking further injury, not necessarily just to this year, but years down the line that could hinder your career. So in terms of I'm not a medical expert, but logically, it sounds like it makes sense. Now, something else that may have impacted the decision, this is just speculation, but when you look at the Xfinity Series schedule, we have Texas this upcoming weekend, but then there are 2 weeks off. So this is 3 full weeks for Connor Zilisch to heal, recover, get physically right if he's able to race at Charlotte. Now, if he has any problems, if he can't go at Charlotte, then obviously he's not going to be able to go at Charlotte, and that would be 4 weeks. But in terms of the injury itself, it's a back injury. You don't want to mess with that. Connor Zilisch, young career. This is his first full-time season in Xfinity. If you want to look at the big picture for this year, he's already got a win. He won at the Circuit of the Americas at Austin the last time we were actually racing in the state of Texas. He won there in March, so he's in the playoffs. He currently sits 6th in the standings. And yes, he will get a waiver. NASCAR recently introduced a new rule that said if you miss a race, you lose all your playoff points unless there's an exception. This is an exception. A medical waiver, an injury sustained on the racetrack, that's going to get you a waiver. So Connor Zilisch isn't going to lose his playoff points. He's not going to lose his win at COTA in terms of the playoff eligibility. Connor Zilisch will be fine in terms of that. Right now, the focus for him is going to be getting physically right, getting ready for the Xfinity Series race at Charlotte. Another question I would have is he is currently slated to race in the Coca-Cola 600 the day after that Xfinity Series race at Charlotte. So Does that change Trackhouse's plans there? That's another question I have. Once again, it's going to be up to where is he, I would say, in 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, where is his back if we're going to see him in the 600 or even just the Xfinity Series race. So Connor Zilisch is out at Texas Motor Speedway. He will not be racing. Kyle Larson, his sub, obviously this completely flips the script for the Xfinity Series race because Kyle Larson, previously not even entered in this race, will become a heavy favorite. Obviously, Hendrick Motorsports, Junior Motorsports have a very close alignment. They've used each other's drivers as subs before. We've seen, some Chase Elliott, William Byron, they used to be Junior Motorsports drivers, but we've also seen on the flip side, Junior Motorsport drivers be subs for Hendrick drivers in the Cup Series. Josh Berry, Justin Allgaier, Noah Gragson, all subbed for Hendrick Motorsports drivers over the last 3 or 4 years. So it is not a surprise to see a Hendrick driver subbing for a JRM car because of how close those two teams are. But as I said, this completely flips everything. I think they're going to have a car ready for Larson. Once again, I'm expecting him to be the favorite now that he's in that field. But in terms of this weekend, that changes everything in terms of, the favorites for the win. And Kyle Larson could not win. It's very much a possibility. But in terms of the future, Connor Zilisch out at Texas. Hopefully he can come back for Charlotte on May 24th. As for everything else in the Xfinity Series, everything else is pretty much normal. But big news here today in terms of the Xfinity Series. I will be at Texas this entire weekend. Should be a fun race weekend. But Connor Zilisch, hoping he gets better.